Secret Path Week is a national movement that commemorates the legacies of Gord Downie and Channy Wenjack. Part of Gord's message to the country to do something is part of the path to reconciliations led by the Downie Wenjack Fund. I got a chance to sit down with President and CEO Sarah Midanik to talk about how they onboarded Indigenous curriculum remotely. Here's her take on the future of learning. First off, though, why don't you just give us a little sense of the Downie Wenjack Fund from its inception and where you are today?
For sure. Well, thank you so much for including us in this conversation. The Gord Downie and Channy Wenjack Fund really started organically in 2016, I would say. Well, even a bit before that, when Mike Downie shared the Maclean's article with his brother Gord, which turned into the series of poems that Gord created, which became the album The Secret Path, which became the graphic novel, which became the animated film, which became the concert series, and was kind of sort of uniquely timed with both the release of the 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and also Gord's terminal diagnosis. So he had, I would say, a pretty captive audience to listen to this important message about the importance of understanding the true history and legacy of residential schools in Canada and the journey we have ahead of us towards reconciliation, and that all Canadians are a part of that. So the Downie Wenjack Fund really started from that sort of movement and tried to, meet the needs where there was gaps on that education and awareness journey. And so one of our big programs is Legacy Schools, which is a free program for educators that literally provides them with a toolkit to better equip them to teach about the history and legacy of residential schools in Canada, and also to act as the, I would say, gateway teaching tool to learn more about the strength and resilience and the richness of Indigenous history and peoples and cultures in this country.
And isn't it interesting that the pandemic, COVID-19, the shutdown of schools, moved almost everyone into that playing field? Not to say that, the access to bandwidth, but one computer, 3 little learners, homeschool, all of a sudden everything's shaken up and everybody has to readjust. Mm-hmm. Today, some schools don't even have enough teachers for the students. So there's a bit of equalization that happened, but it were trials and tribulations that you were dealing with from the beginning.
Well, that was one of the things, when you're trying to create a national program to support critical learning, like the hard truths of what occurred in this country around residential schools, which is a difficult topic, especially if educators have not learned about it themselves. They don't have curriculum resources available within their school boards or districts or provinces. So that was really a need that Downie Wenjack tried to fill, is, creating something that is general enough to open up that conversation, but also to help support educators on their journey to be able to teach about these tough subjects in a meaningful way while recognizing the history of the areas that they exist in. What are the Indigenous communities that they reside on or near? What treaties exist? What is the history within those communities and within the context of Greater Canada, or what we refer to as Canada?
You also had to be extremely nimble and creative on how this got to the schools and how they onboarded it. Any insights on how you did it?
For sure. I think, from day one, we kind of took a 2-pronged approach. One was, all of the resources exist virtually on our website. There's a link that anyone can access, but educators were signing up through our website And when you sign up to become a legacy school, we send out a tactile toolkit that actually has copies of The Secret Path, has a reconciliation guidebook, has, a series of sort of turnkey resources that are tactile that the educators can use in the classroom. And I think, that was one of the really successful components of the Legacy Schools program was, teachers opening up this toolkit and having this purple box with the hat sitting in the corner of their classroom, which actually held physical space and a reminder about the commitment they made to do work to further reconciliation. Or as we call it, engage in reconciliations within their classrooms and communities.
Sarah, I can't thank you enough for being with us today. The work that you and the team that are doing at the Downie Wenjack Fund is phenomenal and so important. And we thank you again for your insights and joining us at the Future of Learning today. Thank you.